Hello and welcome to episode number 98 of the Perth to Paisley podcast. It's been an incredibly eventful week in Heart of Midlothian's time, and it's not really slowing down at all because we've got a lot coming up this week as well. So, plenty to talk about. And as ever, I, Daniel McIver, am joined by Adam Kennedy to do so. Adam, how are you doing in that very snazzy kit?
Thanks very much, mate. Yeah, got a wee bit retro this week. And it sounded actually, my audio, as though I was recording off God knows what. So I can only apologise. I have upgraded back to the blue snowball this week. So fingers crossed we're in a better shape. Hopefully I'm sounding better. And albeit we're actually discussing a couple of annoyances this week, I think, if we're being honest, since last Thursday. But hey ho, you take the rough with the smooth, supporting Hearts. You know that, I know that. But how are you?
I'm doing all right. Okay, it's just
nice.
It's very eventful, as I say. There's a lot going on, so trying to work out what we could fit into this has been an interesting time. But there is no better place to start than last Thursday. Heart of Midlothian had their first European game in 6 years as we travelled to Switzerland, not quite Zurich, St. Gallen, as Hearts took on FC Zurich in their first Europa League Playoff draw. And first of all, we'll mention that it just looked really fun to be over there.
Yeah, I had severe FOMO, I can't lie. A lot of people didn't seem to realise that we were playing in St. Gallen. I don't think the Go Radio Football Show picked up on it. The BBC hopefully did, given that they were there. But yeah, funny time. But look, an absolute blast. I can't lie. I was looking at lots of photos, lots of videos with a wee bit of envy. Not a good load that went over. Seemingly had a blast despite the performance stroke result. But we're firmly in the tie. So we'd have taken that prior to the game. And back to Tynecastle we go. I can't wait for Thursday night, personally.
Well, there's your entire review of the game done in 30 seconds. But we'll just go through the semantics of it just in case. Because the first talking point was the team. The team came out and it was clear that some changes had been made. Robbie changed shape from the 4-2-3-1 that had done so well against Dundee United. At the weekend, we changed to the three at the back, which was the big discussion amongst the fan base. Hearts lined up with Gordon in goals, Halkett, Kingsley and Rolls, Cochrane and Atkinson as the wing-backs, Devlin and Haring, and then Grant with Shankland and Mackay in a 3-4-1-1, a 3-5-2, a 3, whatever you want to call it, really. It was a 3. When you saw the team, what did you think? The main summary I saw of it online was that it was too defensive. What did you make of it?
I was surprised, stroke, somewhat frustrated to realise that we'd gone to a 3 at the back. I think that was only due to them playing a 3-4-3. Yep. Robbie does as Robbie does and probably focuses more on the opposition than us. I get it for this away leg. But if you actually looked at over the piece, was that the right thing to do? I don't know. I feel as though at the start, we were maybe a little bit pessimistic or cautious. I don't know. I think the two in support of Shankland up front, again, I was confused as to whether it was a 3-4-1-2 come 3-5-2, a 3-4-3. I think that was the general consensus that Mackay and Grant were supporting Shankland, which is a weird one for me because I actually thought we looked a lot better when the likes of Liam Boyce and Alan Forrest came on. But yeah, I don't know. It just seemed a little bit too conservative for me. But again, like in the first half, what can I really say? Because we invited that pressure, but scored against the run of play. So it sort of counters the selection and game plan that we perhaps had. It was a really funny one, actually, for me when I was watching it. I was thinking, this mob, are they really that good? Are we making them look good by not imposing our own game upon the opposition? I'd probably say that was the case.
Well, whatever game plan it was went completely out the window 4 minutes in as Craig Halkett stretched for a ball and immediately went down holding the back of his leg. For me, I have two questions for you. One, how much do you think that affected us? And two, how much of that effect do you think was affected by who came on for him?
Do you know what? I actually don't think it affected us as much as I thought it would.
Right.
When I did see Toby Civic coming on, I was nervous given my criticism of him so far this season. But I actually thought he did okay.
I thought
to be honest,
right.
I thought he was decent enough. Halkett is a big blow for us. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of what I was feeling as soon as Civic came on, I thought it could be a long evening, and that's not just solely down to him. I don't think the three in the back suits him at all, if I'm honest.
I think it does when he's in the middle of it. He just looks so much more comfortable when he's in the middle of a 3/ in the middle of the park. Something
this
about
is it.
taking 5 yards to the right seems to make his head just go, I physically can't do this anymore.
I feel as though if he's in the middle of a 3, he's probably sitting ahead of the other two centre-halves.
Yeah,
really.
That's fair. Yeah.
And I think most would probably look at Hearts and think, how bizarre is it that left back has been a problem position for ages, yet now they're probably targeting our right-hand side as opposed to our left?
Yeah.
With Atkinson, Smith, and whoever's, in this case, Toby Civic, playing next to them. Because Kingsley and Cochrane, you probably wouldn't, you wouldn't feel as though you could get in behind more than on the other side, if you see what I'm saying. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel as though we actually coped somewhat okay. I don't think either of the goals were Toby Civic's doing. And considering this is a pretty tough game for him to be chucked into, I thought he coped pretty admirably, if I'm honest.
On the flip side, I think Halkett's injury has lost us this tie. I think that...
don't say that.
I think that the 2 goals we concede don't happen if Halkett's on the park. I think that the general defensive organisation is a lot more solid.
I see what you're saying. He's grown into a leader within this Hearts team, I think.
Yeah.
Because his performances have gone up that level. He just, I don't know, he looks a lot more confident. Do you remember when lockdown hit and then he just became massive? His shorts were enormous.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He just looks in such a better nick, and I beg that while he's out injured, I know it's not for nearly as long, but that he doesn't go back to old habits, and hopefully he's back relatively soon, because this is testament to him as well. He's grown into the position. He's grown into being a solid centre-back for Hearts. And that's something that you probably wouldn't have said prior to lockdown hitting and what happened happening, rather.
I think, apart from Gordon, he's the worst player for us to lose. Because everywhere else, we've got adequate replacements / like-for-like replacements. We have no other defender like Craig Halkett, just a stopper who marshal everybody, win everything in the air and do the dirty work. All the other defenders, I like, especially as you say, the left-hand side, your Rolls, Kingsley, Cochrane, but they're a lot prettier footballers than Halkett. You can be trusted to take the ball and move us forward, whereas Halkett is the only person that we have that is just Cochrane as well, but they're in different positions.
In a defensive sense, he's just as key. I still think you take out Barry Mackay, we're probably not as threatening in an advanced
I think
situations.
We're not as threatening, but I think we can still score.
That's fair. And again, I still think if you take out Lauren Shanklin, given the form that Liam Boyce finds himself in at this current minute in time, just of current form, are we quite as prolific? I don't think so. But that's nothing against Liam Boyce, because we've seen it. He has peaks and troughs where he'll bag in a couple of games, then won't score for a wee while, and then he'll just be on a spree. So hopefully he can refine some form ahead of Thursday. Because I thought he was poor against United, but I thought the introduction of he and Forrest against Zurich altered things again in our favour, perhaps, with a couple opportunities. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see what formation and selection is like for this return leg, because I don't know, a back 4 without Halkett is a wee bit daunting.
Well, we'll get to that sooner than later. However, that actually then turned in our favour. as Nathaniel Atkinson gets into the box, and in the live moment, it seems that the play fizzles out and that
was
nothing's
so weird.
really happening.
So weird.
In actual fact, the referee turns and points to the spot. And then, upon watching a replay, you see that actually their number 6 comes stampeding in and stamps on Atkinson's ankle, and it is actually a clear penalty.
Can I just say, I know we'll get chatting about the weekend's match and other games within the cinch. Isn't it amazing what having a referee of a neutral nationality does for you in a continental match as opposed to a domestic game?
In fact, it wasn't the ref that got it.
But, as a team of officials.
Coaching, an officials team.
They've reached the correct conclusion, which I personally at the time I thought it was soft. And I see Lawrence Shanklin wandering over to take the ball under his arm. I'm thinking, what was happening here? Because even then, he listened back to the commentary. Liam McLeod doesn't have a clue what's going on.
James McFadden is like, there's no penalty.
James McFadden's thinking, what is happening here? So I was left bemused watching it. I obviously, like, in the ground, Hearts fans must have had an idea that a penalty was being given. But for us at home watching on, I was like, what on earth happened here? It appears as though he's given a spot kick, but has he? Why Shanklin got the ball? Oh, he has given a pen. Right, okay, nice. So, I don't know, it was a delayed reaction. And again, at the time, I thought it was somewhat harsh until I saw the replay.
Yeah. Lawrence Shanklin steps up, confident as you like.
Great pen,
especially considering that goalkeeper is 6'5", and he manages to get it as into the corner as you possibly can. That is now Lawrence Shanklin played 5 competitive games, scored 3, set up 1, 4 goal contributions in 5 games.
Until the weekend. And again, like, I don't want to sound too pessimistic here, but I was thinking, regardless what happens in Europe, thank God that Connor Salmon is now no longer the last Hearts player to score in continental competition. That was an embarrassing 6-year period for our club, and that stat was probably up there with regards to one of the most embarrassing facts. So that's great. Well done.
And then you think, keep it tight for 10 minutes. Just keep the ball.
Yeah, let's see this formation and selection come to fruition as though we've set out a defensive game plan, limit them to opportunities, probably get to half-time in an ideal world and take it from there.
Yeah. But then the man that last week, I was so annoyed at being proven right, because last week I said their best player was Adrian Guerrero from the Valencia.
He's good, that boy, isn't he?
He is quite good.
He's decent. I couldn't help but thinking, I know that there's been, prior to the weekend, talk of like Borna Barisic's future at Rangers. I was wondering if they were perhaps watching on and thinking, do you know what, if we lose Borna Barisic, depending on how much Forest are willing to pay, I think that'd be a great replacement. But I mean, what a goal. And I hope for his sake that his ceiling's higher than Rangers.
Well, the ball comes immediately after Craig Gordon's made a great save to keep it 1-0, but you could start seeing that, right, we've kind of sat deeper by a yard, and we were
having to ride the storm, weren't we?
Yeah, it's allowed everybody of an FC Zurich persuasion to kind of put their foot in the ball and calm down a wee bit. And then the most disappointing thing is that it's just a long ball over the top, which we were susceptible to against Ross County opening day. We were susceptible to against Hibs in the derby, and we were susceptible to against Dundee United. It's starting to
you're adamant that Halkett being there cancels that out, because he was obviously prominent in these other fixtures. So I don't know whether it was just Halkett or if it's like, why can't we deal with a long ball? Surely that's bread and butter stuff for a defence, no?
I think Halkett deals with it because it's on his side. The 3 centre-halves are incredibly narrow for some reason. I don't understand why. I've noticed this has been a transitional change when we go behind / when we concede. Our centre-backs suddenly tuck in. I don't like it because it exposes situations like this.
Is that because the wing-backs are expected to tuck that little bit?
No, I think they actually go wider. Well. I think they go wider, and
but then surely that leaves the spaces.
It creates a gap, which we have seen in the last few games has been our downfall, because we'll speak about Nathaniel Atkinson, his first half performance at the end when I get to the end of the first half. He is caught under the ball completely. He's come across instead of Sibic going across to meet it the other way. Atkinson's completely caught under the ball and just heads it straight up in the air. And it around. Now, listen, it's a great finish. The finish is unbelievable. It's over his shoulder, leaves Gordon no chance. But it is that it's one long ball catching us out, and we now don't have Halkett to just head it away all the time.
And you sometimes get away with that if you're playing a lower end Premiership side, or, you know, a side in a lower league in the Cup. There's no mugs when it comes to continental competition. Yeah. And, you know, that's probably the first main mistake that we've made, and albeit we're punished for it right away. So it's a harsh reality, but take nothing away from the strike, because like you say, I mean, I don't think his eyes are even on the ball. He's let it come over his shoulder, hit it on the full volley, pass Gordon in a flash. And speaking of pass Gordon in a flash, I'm sure that you'll...
Well, 2 minutes later... Goal. 2 minutes later, it's 2-1 FC Zurich. A ball comes across, and there's no other way of putting it. Atkinson shouts out a challenge and doesn't go up for it. It then lands at the feet of the FC Zurich player, fizzes it across the box. Haring tries his best to get anything on it. What that touch ends up doing is putting it in the path of, I have no idea how you say his name, but Jamali, I don't know. I
heard Jamali on commentary. It's funny, I was watching it thinking the two goal scorers have probably been their outstanding
players. Best players, yeah.
That boy Jamali, you could see, is he the boy that played for Atalanta, is it?
Yes, he is.
In the Serie A, and you could tell that he's obviously played at a good level, however many caps for Switzerland and what have you. And
came through the Zurich Academy as well. He's
another thunderous strike past, you know, one of our best academy prospects once upon a time. But yeah,
he's in acres of space inexplicably.
Strike goal concede, it really is. Just like ricochets, Stramaches, just and annoying because, again, having just been pegged back, like, you're expected to batten down the hatches as soon as we take the lead, even more so having just conceded a goal. And then 2-1 down, you're thinking, if this is 3 or 4, we've only got ourselves to blame here. And then it probably was a good time for halftime to hit, because we're still in the game. We've tried to ride the storm as best as we can, albeit conceded 2 very preventable goals. But again, like I didn't feel as though either side were at their best. So I don't really know how I'm feeling ahead of this second leg. I feel as though if we can turn on the style, it actually could be a really memorable night for us. But again, fast start and just don't give them a sniff. That's all I ask for. It's going to be tough, but I wouldn't feel as optimistic as I do if I didn't have the belief in the playing squad that I've got.
Well, there was definitely no belief in one individual, because at halftime, the whole of Hearts Twitter and commentary and punditry, Ryan McGowan, one of them, and ironically, as an Australian right back, was all about the current Australian right back in Nathaniel Atkinson. And listen, I've been accused a lot of being harsh on Atkinson, and I personally disagree, but perhaps at times I have been. I've just seen nothing to think he's good enough for us at right back. At right wing / right mid, he'd be a good cover. He's not as good as Forrest, but at right back, he can't defend. He just like, and it's going to be interesting because we're going to speak about the Celtic game later. So don't want to speak about that just now. But that performance against Zurich was really infuriating because it was everything wrong and everything that he always does that was on show, and Zurich clearly targeted him. For the people who go, listen, he's a young guy coming from across the world. He needs time to bed in. He's now been here for nearly 9 months. His countryman compatriot, Kai Rolls, has been here for a month and hasn't put a foot wrong yet, really, and been fantastic. So I don't really think that argument stands up as much anymore. Again, I get it. He is young. He's going to have time to develop. And I do think a part of the problem is that he's being put in a position that he clearly cannot do. He might have been good enough in the A-League, where Jason Cummins looks like Pele, So you don't really need to, like, that league is not at the similar standard.
But this is what I was going to come on to, because is it the fact that he gets away with performances against your lower end Premiership teams? It's in the big games that it's highlighted that he might be a liability defensively. You know, I think Melbourne City, that's where he was at, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They pretty much won everything down
He
under
played as a
when
winger
he was there.
almost, yeah.
Right. So there you go. So any form of defensive work. But again, this leads on to my frustration, because look at who's in the dugout. Yeah. Michael Smith would be a great tutor to learn from, but it seems like he hasn't. And this is the big thing for me, because I really do feel as though right back's the problem position now. I love Michael Smith, a fantastic servant, a real coup for us on a free transfer. But let's not kid ourselves, he's getting on. Natty Atkinson shows glimpses, and that's being kind. We need somebody that's like Michael Smith when he first arrived, a steady Eddie, somebody to complement Kingsley stroke Cochrane on the other side. But it doesn't seem like we've got anybody lined up, or even like there's nobody being mentioned. It seems as though, because we're quite light in offensive areas, that's going to be what we're targeting first and foremost. So I don't know. That is a wee bit of a worry. But again, like, I just thought that this would have been corrected by now.
That's the thing for me. It's just the time period. It's that he's just showing fewer signs. However, he did get brought off. Michael Smith came on. The second half, I wouldn't call it a non-event in the sense of, because
it was poor.
Well, no, I don't think it was poor. I just think we were better. And so as a result, they then just had a lead to defend. So we're like, well, we're not going to push it too much. We didn't want to throw everything at it, because it could have jeopardised the second leg.
I hear what you're saying. I feel as though our stance on the game would have been a goal defeat's not a terrible result.
Yeah, it's all right. I think most Hearts fans would have taken that before the game. I certainly would have. I certainly would have taken a 2-1 defeat beforehand.
But this is where, like, it plays tricks with your mind, because you're watching the game and thinking, like, we're at fault for both goals. We could easily cut the mistakes out, and perhaps if we were that little bit more sort of looking for ambitious, we could have maybe nicked a second. I think when the introduction of Boyce and Forrest, it did look far more threatening, and easily on another day could have. You know, the chance is Forrest where he skews way wide. And I think is Boyce peeling off at the back stick, if my memory serves. That's a big chance. But in terms of clear-cut opportunities, I think the main positive that I'll take from it is we didn't really carve any out, but we're still firmly in the tie because of Shankland's penalty, first and foremost, and limiting them to fairly few opportunities, albeit they maybe could have scored one or two more, probably in the first half more than the second, though.
I think the change with Forrest and Boyce coming up, that's their duo tag team name, Forrest. I think the change to a 4 with them coming on, we just look way more comfortable in a 4.
Yeah.
And I think, at one point, Cammy Devlin was playing right mid. I don't suggest we do that on Thursday night, but generally, we just look way more comfortable. You can tell players kind of just feel more settled. Again, Kingsley, I saw a stat. Kingsley had the most amount of tackles, the most amount of passes in the entire game. Second to him was Kai Rolls. I thought they two were good. I thought Kai Rolls was my man of the match, personally. He won 89% of his duels.
I like the big fella,
he's really no nonsense as well. He's like Halkett. He can still play, but he is quite like him and Halkett. I really like as a partnership, where it's just like they're just going to heed it.
And this is what I wanted to come on to, because I don't know, or can't work out for the life of me, when everybody's fit and everybody's available, what is the best formation for the squad and what is our strongest 11 in terms of personnel.
It's a good problem to have.
Well, it is, but I still feel like some spots are guaranteed.
Yeah, definitely.
But I hear what you're saying. I think we are still a work in progress, really, which is good. But I don't know. I'd much prefer a 4 at the back.
Same. So would I.
But
However,
with Halkett out, what now happens? Because Cochrane, Kingsley, Rolls, and Atkinson / Smith sounds all right. But is that 3 left footers in there?
I disagree with this argument because Kingsley and Roll have both shown they're as good with their right feet. It's not like it's 2 left-footed centre halves who can only play, especially Kingsley. Kingsley's shown that he can do whatever he wants.
He's a baller.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll get to that when we're previewing the Zurich game.
Okay.
So, 2-1, finished. Craig Gordon made a massive save at the very end to keep us in the tie as well, which was pretty massive.
Donny Savdiai did nothing, which was great.
Why would you say this? I didn't want to mention him because he's definitely going to score the winner now.
Guaranteed. As only Hearts would know. I thought the young lad, the Italian, Nonto, is it?
Yeah, the 19-year-old striker.
Hope he's moved on by the time we play him, but chances. But yeah, a repeat performance from Donny Savdiai would be great. Like, you just know that he's tucking the winner. And when he does, that's fine. You can all attack me on Twitter. That's okay. Or there in person. But exactly. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have mentioned that.
Anyway, amongst all this, we do still have to play in the league. And we had the small part of going to Celtic Park this weekend.
Are you going to go around the grounds for the rest of the Sidge? Because what a mental weekend in the Sidge.
Don't worry about that. I've got that covered. So, before that, we were the only Sunday kickoff as our game got moved. It was meant to be on Saturday, but because we were in Europe, got moved. So, the Saturday kickoffs, Aberdeen, Liverpool loanee, apparently only scores Rakers as they beat St Johnstone 1-0. Ross County seem to just go, let's just break everybody's legs. That's our tactic as they won 1-0 against Killie. I have seen that Ross Callahan and Jack Baldwin today both were served 2 match bans on top of their sending offs.
How Callahan isn't sent off?
It's unbelievable.
One that he's sent off
it's
for
insane.
Derek McInnes has every right to be raging at that.
However, Killie still without a win in the league this season. Motherwell, Hamilball's still in full effect.
Hamilball's in full flow, baby.
As they beat Livingston 1-0. St Mirren continued to just pile on the pressure onto Jack Ross as they handedly won 3-0 at Tannadice. And then the most talked about eventful game was at Easter Road, where Hibs drew in the 90th minute because Hibs' plan is apparently to just get all their points after the 90th minute.
Another great win for the High Bees.
As they drew against 9-men Rangers. So, from all the other 5 games, what were your main thoughts on them?
We could probably dedicate the rest of the podcast to this weekend, couldn't we? Let's see. Hibs Rangers. Rangers don't lose that game if they go down to...
Yeah, of course not.
I'd even argue with 10 men.
Well, they didn't lose the game. They win the game.
Sorry, Rangers... Yeah. What did I say? Rangers don't lose the game.
Yeah,
sorry.
You said Rangers don't lose the game.
Rangers don't drop points.
Yeah.
You knew what I meant.
Yeah.
The Hibs think it's another win, so we'll go with that. But I mean, Morelos, so stupid. John Lundstrom's isn't a red. I won't say that much.
It definitely is.
I don't think it's.
It's definitely red.
Elsewhere, Leighton Clarkson's goal, you're as well just stopping goal of the season now, an absolute worldie. Can I just say, waxing lyrical the other week about how Dundee United Hearts is always a great game. Can we stop televising St Johnstone Aberdeen? An absolute snooze fest. Possibly the worst football match of all time. It probably rivals like Morton Dunfermline because that was historically shite as well. Terrible. I think there's been 1 goal just about in every single game of theirs ever. 1 goal max, that is. Ross County, again, I had Aberdeen and County both to win 1-0. Kelly have been dealt a tough start. I think it's only a matter of time before they're not going to be in bother. A side that I did think would be in bother was St Mirren, but are they as much bother as Dundee United? Because Jesus wept. The manner of the goals, the rumours about Jack Ross supposedly leaving.
The rumours apparently about players having meetings without him.
Oh, dear, that club is in disarray. And yeah, it seemed to all the world as though that that first leg against Alkmaar that United were really onto something. How it can all change within a matter of weeks is just remarkable.
Shows you how quickly Scottish football and football generally can change. Cherish the moments that you're doing well.
Yeah, fully. And was that all the Saturday fixtures that I just mentioned there?
Yes.
No, Motherwell.
No, Motherwell. Hamilball. Brilliant.
I mean, another shocking game by all accounts, first half, but a Kevin Van Veen penalty just lit it up. So it's
never a penalty either.
I'm trying to think what it was for.
A handball, but it hit him on the chest.
Somebody on the left-hand side, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Who was it? Was it Montano, the left back?
I think so. I think it was Jason Montano.
Yeah, harsh, but
yeah.
Who cares? I mean, what can I say? The Edinburgh Glasgow games were worth discussing.
Yes, exactly.
Other than that, not a great deal going on, was there? But that's the cinch. I mean, it was too high scoring last week, so they had to lower the standard this week.
Still, it's a fair amount. Maybe just all consigned to like 3 games. Like half the games are high scoring.
Sorry, should I say, unless it's at Tannadice where goals are going in a plenty in United games.
Or Celtic Park. And Celtic Park is where, of course, Sunday kickoff we go. Now, there's 2 big talking points from this. One of them is that in the week, this is my story, I think, put up the first tweet that then it got like 85 replies and like loads of people. It was a contentious subject. What level of team do you want to see at Celtic Park?
It's as though there is absolutely no pleasing the Heart of Midlothian fan base.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell me that.
Whatever lineup came out that tunnel, people were going to be unhappy. However, personally, I was a happy person because we rested a lot of players. Now, the
7 changes, was it?
7 changes, yes. The big talking point was in goals. I had previously advocated for Ross Stewart to start. I didn't advocate for him to start in the conditions that he started in, though, because I was hoping that Gordon would just be rested. However, Robbie made it clear on Sports Sound that Craig has had a back spasm. He is fine for Thursday. We can all relax, but it was a needless risk start. So the team was Ross Stewart in goals, Cochrane, Rolls, Civic and Atkinson in the reversion back to the back 4, Halliday and Haring as the 2, Forrest, Boyce and GMS in behind Ginnelly. Now, when that team came out, there was an expectation that it was going to be 12-0 by half-time. And one of the people that would have had to watch that is the second point, is that you were there.
Yeah.
How was that?
I hate Parkhead. It's the worst away day in the league by a country mile. Hate it. Absolutely despise it. And what do you want me to say? As soon as I saw that team, I was in Queen Street, waiting for my connecting train to Duke Street, and I was considering just patching it and getting on the first train back to...
Did you agree with it from a general point of view? Or were you just thinking, I've now got to go to Celtic Park and watch this?
Here's my take on it, because I get a lot of stick for this amongst my pals. I don't mind us resting the team for this game, because as far as I'm concerned, our Parkhead record is rank.
Whoever we play.
We've got bigger fish to fry on Thursday. Exactly. My annoyance is, and I know that you're going to pull me up for this, I know you're going to get frustrated for this, is Robbie's comments with regards to closing the gap, wanting to win in Glasgow. Don't simultaneously say that and play that team.
No, I don't think that's fair. I think that would be a fair point to make if it was any other time in the season and there wasn't context. Like,
but again, he's only saying this because of Thursday, and he's only playing this team because of Thursday, and I'm all for that. You'd have offered me that, I'd have taken that.
So I don't think it's fair to then go, aye, but you said that you want to close the gap. It's like, yeah, he means that in a general sense. He doesn't just mean.
But the thing is,
from games in Glasgow.
The thing is, though, mate, he's so predictable. As soon as Alex Cochrane was sent off, I knew he'd come out and slate the red card. That was before Toby Civic had been sent off. I knew that he'd come out and say about the referee.
But that's what. But that's just football patter.
But it's not.
Yes, it is. Klopp
But
last
we were
night.
shit. Jurgen Klopp
they should have won.
Hold on a second. Jurgen Klopp's been moaning for years when he had Sadio Mane and Mo Salah about African Cup of Nations. Well, sign some players to replace them then. You've practically got a blank checkbook. You've been in England for how long? And you moan about it year after year. Well, do something about it then. Like, why do managers get such a free pass with moaning about stuff like fixture congestion, playing squads? Robbie knows what he wants within a squad, what players he wants to sign. So I'm not having managers coming out and saying like all this nonsense. I know that perhaps I do take what managers say too literally sometimes.
What I was about to say was,
I'll give you that.
You are the person they are appealing to. They want people to not speak about the game. It's the famous thing about like when Mourinho was at Chelsea.
It's sugarcoating shite.
No, it's not. What it is, it's completely distracting from the game so that people don't focus on his team's performance. They focus on him and his comments.
But everybody's on to it. Everybody sees through it.
No, they're not, because they're working.
Yes, they are.
It's working. You just sat here speaking about
It's not. It's not. I'm more concerned about the piss poor performance. Yes, we showed a couple of glimpses, but we didn't have a shot on target. So don't come out and give us this nonsense.
I don't want to analyse this game bit by bit because
we'd be here forever.
No, because it's a game that meant nothing, and I think it was great. I think it was really good.
Right. There's two ways of looking at this. Because again, when the team first came out, I was thinking, I did have a wonder to myself. I can remember Celtic battering Aberdeen 9-0 at Parkhead, and I was thinking, is today the day that they hit double figures? And then I thought to myself, do you know what? Like during the game, yes, Kyogo's goal was early, but did Celtic really break a sweat?
I think they played badly.
Not particularly. It was a terrible game. A terrible, terrible game. And the games that we've had last season, 3 out of the 4 league meetings last season were defined by a sole goal. And they were at least tight. They were sometimes edgy. This wasn't really. There was a spell where I was thinking, you know what? We're still firmly in this. We could perhaps nick a point. But
I was like that until the 82nd minute.
And then the cards come out.
But I genuinely really disagree. I was more than you're never happy to lose any game. Doesn't matter the context of it. But I was like everybody else. I saw that team and was like, it's going to be 5-0.
Yeah.
And I want to say this because it would be hypocritical for me not to. I spent earlier in the show criticising Atkinson. I think that was arguably Atkinson's best defensive performance for us this season. When you take into account of the fact he's up against far and away the best player in Scotland, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
James Tavernier is going to get ruined by Jota 100 times a game. There is no fullback in the league that won't get ruined 100 times a game. And part of it is, yes, Celtic didn't play nowhere near the levels we have seen that the Celtic team can play, but Jota was not as effective as he's been in other games. And I think part of that was down to Atkinson's positioning, his endeavour, and he chose to do a thing that I've never seen him do, and I pray that he does it more. He actually realised that he had Forrest in support. I think Forrest had a very selfish role in this game because he knew as a winger going to Celtic Park, you're not going to get many opportunities.
No.
But him and Atkinson, I felt at least, I might be getting, like people might say I'm trying to find positives where there are none. I think they did a very good job in doubling up on Jota. Now, Jota obviously still got past them 12 times or something.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But Jota's going to do that against anybody.
Do you know what? You're somewhat right, because Greg Taylor was responsible for quite a lot of deliveries.
Greg Taylor was man of the match.
Side.
He got man of the match.
But again, I felt as though, I know that it's tough going to Parkhead for a Hearts team, but Cochrane and Atkinson, for me, I don't know how many times Jota and Maida got in behind them, and it was just I was just looking at it thinking it's only a matter of time before. Well, Kyogo had already tucked one from Maida's cross.
Yeah. When
Cochrane should really smash either the ball away or just take Maida out. Does neither, and it's put on a plate for him. But I thought they got in behind us with.
But I think my point is, I think we could have Fisas there, and they would still get this Celtic team would still get in behind us 20 times. I think
Maida's nowhere near the player of Jota, though. I will say that. I don't think he was that great.
He only beat Cochrane twice in the game.
And well, this is the thing. Like Jota's the main threat.
Yeah, and I think he played nowhere near the levels of ability, and part of that was down to Atkinson.
I don't think they're overly arsed.
Of course not. But that's not how we need to look at it. We need to look at it as the backup brigade went to Celtic Park and gave a very good account of themselves.
They did a job. I don't know what you want me to say.
Well, I know. I'm going to ask you a question, so I know what I want you to say.
All right, go on then. Just fire away.
There is no irony in my tone here. I'm not being facetious here. Everybody needs to congratulate Ross Stewart. He pulled off 2 saves that were Craig Gordon-like. The first one was a Craig Gordon-esque save.
I have to say, I did find it funny within the away end when there was chats of there's only one Ross Stewart and cheesy.
I genuinely am delighted for him, because everybody, when they saw that team, the main issue, people went, Ross Stewart up against Celtic, it's going to be a bloodbath. And he was at fault for neither goal. He can't be blamed for either of those goals.
No, the first on a plate and the seconds just... I think it's down to a lack of personnel, if I'm honest. They've just got that little bit more space.
It's an own goal.
Yeah.
So, whatever. He made 2 massive saves. I will say this. I thought his distribution was good and is way better than Gordon's. I don't care about Gordon's lack of distribution. He
makes amends for that with shot stopping and just being a wall.
Yeah, literally. Gordon could, every single goal kick, Gordon could just kick it straight out of touch. I don't care. I genuinely don't care. He's that good. But
probably as well doing that, to be honest.
Yeah, but Ross Stewart's distribution was actually good. He's got some kick on him and it went all the way up. I will say this as well. Haring was terrible against Zurich, and I thought he was great against Celtic.
In fairness, Ross Stewart does get plenty kicking practice when, Craig's warming up and what have you. So you'd like to think that he's kicking a subsequent standard. Paul Gallagher's probably the best kicker at the club.
Yeah.
But yeah, Big Pedro. Do you know what I thought with regards to the team selection? I thought when Big Pete's got the armband, that pretty much speaks volumes, because it was a guy that last season we didn't even know if we were keeping towards the back end of the campaign. So that speaks volumes about the 11 that we put out. They did a decent enough job, stayed in the game far longer than I thought they would, which is the biggest compliment I can pay them. On another day, if we create a clear-cut chance or two, maybe come away with a point. But do you know what? When I saw the lineup at Queen Street lower level, I was silently shitting myself.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody was.
And I had no reason to, really, within the game. That's the best compliment I could pay them.
Also, just before we move on to the refereeing decisions, which I know people want us to speak about, even if I'm not that fussed, we will speak about it. I want to just give a mention to someone who's been in the press today as we're recording this. I thought Ginnelly was excellent. I thought he was, again, in a very selfless role, playing the number 9 at Celtic Park, when you're not a big physical player like Shanklin, so you're going to have to do a lot of running. I thought, yes, listen, he was the one with the 2 chances and he missed them both. I accept that. I think he should do better, especially with the first one.
And there was a couple times where you questioned the work rate a wee piece, but it's a graveyard shift. Let's be honest.
I don't think it's a work rate. Shift. I think it was just he physically couldn't move at once. He was so tired. He'd ran himself into the ground. And I think, especially the last 15 minutes, he just looked absolutely exhausted. So,
jaded.
He's came out today and been very honest and said he doesn't fit into the team. He was just I don't fit into this team, but I'm going to fight my way back into it. He's I don't want to leave. He's I want to be here.
I do wonder if Charles Dunn was in the away end, and I know that he and Josh Ginnelly are quite tight. I know that Motherwell were looking for creativity, but now he's at St Mirren. I don't know. Could that be?
Gino said he had no desire to move because he was why would I want to leave a club playing European football?
Which I get. But there must come a time where you think, I'm not getting my game here.
Yeah.
I'd be as well
absolutely.
I don't know. That could just be mere speculation, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like though he's the type of player to come back and haunt us if he does move to another Scottish club. I just, because we've seen it so often, I just get that impression.
He just scores against Tayside clubs and us.
Yeah, yeah. There's nothing against like Hibs, Aberdeen, like Dundee United. Maybe it might continue that theme. We don't know, but yeah, would probably be more of a hindrance to us than a help.
Yeah. We'll speak about the red cards. Obviously, 2 double yellows. Cochrane's, I think Cochrane's is harsh considering the context of the game. I think it's like Clancy should be looking at that and going, is it a double yellow? I think it's a booking, but it's one of those where most players who are on a booking already avoid that. But at the same time,
first foul they had to take him out because they were.
The first foul is like fully a booking. He's like wrestling with them.
It's daft when on a booking.
Absolutely, that's what I mean. Absolutely. But my point is just I've seen lots of players do that and not get a second booking. But at the same time, I understand why Clancy booked him. I don't think there's any complaints about the second one. I will say this though, and I saw Michael Stewart said it on Sports Scene, and I really agreed with him. And then I saw other people on Twitter, and my dad was saying it. Toby Sibbick's not to blame for that. Barry Mackay is. Yeah,
because he loses the ball and like is blissfully unaware of how much time, or he thinks he's got a lot more time than he does in reality. Loses it, they break away, and Sibbick's left. Like
he has to.
Silly.
Civic has
to. It's silly, but he's got no real his hands are
there is the slightest glimmer of hope that with 9 men and 1-0 we could get some in at the very end. So he's like, I just have to do this. I have to just grab him down. It keeps it at 1-0. Let's see what happens.
Because again, like prior to Barry Mackay receiving the ball, we actually kept the opportunity alive.
Yeah.
I'm thinking if we pull this out the bag, it would just be hilarious. But needless to say, caught dwelling, I think, was Barry Mackay. And ultimately, I do feel for Civic because he's punished for it. And I hope that Halkett's back. I mean, he's not going to be back for Sunday. So this is going to be slim pickings. Is this the game for Lewis Nielsen, the St Johnstone game? Or do we go with a back four and play the 3 left footers like I'm concerned about?
Well, let's get into it now, because FC Zurich is, when this releases, tomorrow. But as we're recording this, we're recording this on Tuesday the 23rd, in 2 days.
Less than 48 hours to go till Tynecastle will be rocking.
I'm very excited.
Oh, be amazing.
What team do you... I have a team that I'd play.
For Zurich?
Yes, for Zurich. I would play 4-2-3-1. I would play Gordon, Cochrane, Kingsley, Rolls, Smith, Devlin, Grant, Mackay, Forrest, Boyce, Shankland.
I'd probably agree with that, to be honest. That centre half is the worry, though, just because of this whole left foot conundrum. But
I just don't think that's as big a deal when Kingsley's the other one. Also, I think Kai Rolls has shown that he can play with both feet.
Love the fact that you've gone Grant, centre mid, and Boyce and just go all out, because that's...
I think it's twofold, right?
If we start at the exact same team and mentality as against Dundee United, obviously barring Halkett, I'd be pretty happy with that.
I think I would play Grant in a deep line playmaker if we're getting into the FM terminology.
Oh God, don't say this because you're just going to lose the older
alienate everybody.
This. Yeah, exactly.
Basically, I would play Grant as like a sitting midfielder who can drive the ball forward with his passes. So he doesn't need to be constantly going forward all the time. So it provides us a bit of depth in terms of he can sit in front of the 4, not as a 6.
Devlin would wander though. That would be my only concern.
They would.
Positioning, lack of positioning.
But if you just tell Grant, like, stay in and around here, he would listen. Devlin won't, but I'm batting on that because that's what I'm meaning. It allows for me, Devlin, to then just be a box to box, like just go with the ball.
Pete is a defensive sub. If we somehow overturn this, bring him on in the latter stages, just see it out.
Boyce, I think. I made it clear I would have started Boyce away at Zurich. I felt you could tell we were missing a person to make it stick and make it kind of just hold everything up.
Do you know what I would love? I would love for Liam Boyce to be the man that nets what would prove the winner against Zurich on Thursday. I think that would do him the world of good. I'd really love for that to happen, you know.
So we agree on teams. This is rare.
I think so. Yeah, like I say, just at the back's a worry for me. But in terms of midfield and attack, I couldn't agree more.
Right. Here it is then. Score prediction.
Oh, bastard. Oh, God. I've got two scorelines in my head. Right. This is sheer optimism. Are we going to keep a clean sheet? No, we're not, but we're going to win 3-1.
Jesus Christ. All right. Who are your goal scorers?
Don't know where I've pulled that out from. Oh, dear. This is
Donny Sadvalai for them.
I'm nothing sure. Yeah, Avdi. Avdi, Forest, Shankland and Boyce.
Interesting. Sadly.
Oh, no, come on.
I'm not going that we'll lose.
Oh.
I'm going 1-1.
Oh, no, that'd be gutting.
Yep, I think. I'll go Boyce.
Would it? Like, I think we're all overlooking the fact that we've still... This was another thing I wanted to touch on. We're all overlooking the fact that we've got the insurance policy of, if worst comes to the worst, dropping into the conference
That's
group.
why I think last week was a 6 out of 10, because it wasn't a disaster.
It was bang average.
Yeah.
A 5/6. We've lost away to the rated Swiss champions. Yes, they've not had the best of times in their title defence or whatever. Yes, they've lost their gaffer, their top scorer, whatever. But in terms of a contest, it was evenly matched because both teams weren't great. If we performed our best, I'm confident we can take care of that.
Controversially,
I really, really am.
Controversially, I think that's the best they can play. I thought they were actually quite good. I didn't think they were that poor. I thought they were quite good. I thought they were quite dominant until we changed the formation. And then we started to get more. But then even then, they could have won it hands down at the end if Gordon doesn't make that save. But that...
I wouldn't be feeling nearly as optimistic had we conceded a 3rd/4th.
I view that as a positive, though. I think that's the best they can play. But for us, as I say, that was a 6 out of 10 performance. We can play much better than that. But I'm still going a 1-1 draw because I'm pessimistic as fuck.
Because you know that it's Hearts, and we'll get an early goal. And then it'll be Avdi that'll take us back.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. And send them through 3-2. And then St Johnstone, I think
Nobody
just depends how we get through in terms of fitness and...
Couldn't care less about
that game. Anyway, the quiz. To finish us off.
Are we not having a St Johnstone score prediction or that? No.
Oh, yeah. 3-0 us. Cool. Shankland hat-trick.
I'll go 2-0. Nice.
Right, cool. So, the quiz. I'm back in charge. So
this has got disaster written all over it for me.
Again, we've got 2 normal questions, a multiple choice, true or false, and then a who am I.
I realised I didn't have a multiple choice last week.
It's embarrassing.
No, I don't think I did. Yeah, sorry. I let the team down.
You could have done. You could have been nice and given me a multiple choice for all the scorers, but you didn't. So it's fine.
Oh, list off 27 names.
No, when I got down to the
final,
when I got down to the final 2, you could have listed 5 players.
Oh, that would have been a shout, actually.
Yeah, it's fine, Adam. It's fine. It's fine.
Sorry.
Well, we'll start with the multiple choice one then. Christ. Number 1. Last season, how many clean sheets did Craig Gordon keep in all competitions? Is it A, 20? Is it B, 21? Or is it C, 22?
Oof. How many clean sheets?
In all competitions, which include the top flight, the Scottish Cup, the League Cup, and the split half.
No, thanks. I know how all competitions work.
Yeah. Well, you seemed confused about the concept of the question.
No, I'm more astounded that it's that high.
Yeah.
That's nothing against Craig, but thinking about the cup run, Livy, Auchinleck, it does make sense now. I'll go middle for diddle. I'll go 21.
He's off to a bad start. It's A20. Out of 46 games, 46 games, he kept 20 clean sheets. Now, speaking about playing at Celtic Park, And going off your question last week,
Jesus.
Who scored the 3 goals in the last league win at Celtic Park?
I was going to do my research on this game and I chose not to. I know one of them is Andy Driver, the free kick, was it?
Correct, the free kick.
Jesus, was this not in about 07?
It was 2007. It was we spoiled the party.
God almighty. I want to say Larry Kingston was stood over that free kick as well, was he not?
Yes, he was.
I'm going to go Larry Kingston, but I feel like it's wrong.
Incorrect. You've got one more player to get.
Why did I not do my research on this? I knew I should have. 2007. Christian Nadi. No idea.
Incorrect. The other 2 goal scorers were Ivas Kevicius.
That's annoying. Should have got that.
And from the penalty spot, Mickey Pospisil.
Really?
Yep. Presley scored for Celtic and gave away the penalty.
Oh, shock. I wouldn't have got Pospisil, but I should have got Ivas Kevicius. That's annoying.
0 for 2.
This is easily the worst I'm going to do because that's a shocker.
Right, well, here's a true or false. You've got a half chance
I'll still get it wrong.
Current Heart of Midlothian squad member and Daniel McIver favourite Kai Rolls, before choosing to pursue football, was a child prodigy at chess, winning multiple national competitions, but eventually gave it up when had to choose between football or chess. True or false?
This is so random. I feel like with the detail that you've gone into there, this has to be true, but I bet it's not. As soon as I say it, I'm going to go true.
It's false. I just made it up completely. Yeah.
Why would I think that Kai Rolls would play chess? Kai Rolls looks like the type of guy that would inspect insects with a magnifying glass and all that.
Right, that's harsh. There's no need for personal digs just because you're doing bad in the quiz. 0 for 3.
I'm pissed off there. Oh, God, this will be the first donut. Oh, no.
No, because it's fine.
This one.
You'll get all the questions wrong, then this will be the first time you get the who am I.
So bloody better be, I tell you.
Right. Lawrence Shankland scored away for Hearts in the European First League tie against FC Zurich. However, who scored Hearts' first away goal last season?
First away goal? What, in the league?
Yep.
Was it not Andy Halliday at St Mirren?
Correct.
Yes! Thank God for that.
He's got one. So he's 1 out of 4.
God.
Right.
Thank you, Andrew.
We're on to the who am I. So I've got 5 clues for you.
Right. Okay.
I was signed to Hearts after a falling out with the manager at my former club. I have played in Scotland, Spain, France, England, and the UAE. I have a personal connection to one of the 2 hosts of this podcast. Alongside Hearts, I played for one other Scottish club, but only for 1 month. And after years of not playing, I played for 1 game for Cheltenham Reserves in August 2011, scoring in such game.
Jesus Christ. A personal connection to one of us?
Yep.
Well, I don't know anybody that's gone over to play in the UAE, so who's your pal?
It doesn't necessarily mean we know them.
Oh, this will be somebody that follows you on Twitter or something.
No, I'm not.
What? Give us the nations that they've played in, please.
They have played in Scotland, Spain, France, England, and the UAE.
Scotland, Spain, England, France, and the UAE. Who the hell has played in the UAE?
Would you like all the clues again?
I'd like the clubs that they've played for. I don't have a clue.
Oh, Jesus. Right, I'll get that up. Hold on.
Mind you, don't say their name.
I was just about to out loud say I'm Googling. So, oh, Jesus Christ. I reckon I can pronounce half of these. So, he played for Saint Priest, Leon Ducheri. So, not Leon Ducheri. How the hell do you say that? Guggenheim, Lille, Luton, Hearts, Almira, Clyde, Burnley, Al Khalej Al Nazir, CD Rocates, EF Al Hama, CD Manira, and Olympico de
I think you're going to try and catch me out here. Is the personal connection to do with me?
Potentially.
I think I know who it is. I think I'm going to have a stab in the dark here because this player would have played for us when we were really young. Is that correct, McIver?
Potentially.
Is it Stefan Adam?
It is not Stefan Adam. He's got it wrong. The personal connection is to me because on my 5th birthday, as we beat Hibs 5-1, he got man of the match for 4 assists. Jean-Louis Valois.
Crikey, I wouldn't have got that. I would not have got that from the rest of the clues. So who did he play for in Scotland?
Right, so I'll explain all the clues. I was signed to Hearts after a falling out with the manager at my former club. He was playing for Luton, and Joe Kinnear, former Newcastle manager and sporting director.
Crikey. There's Charles Insomnia. There's a blast from the past.
He was manager and they had a massive falling out and he just wanted out generally, and that kind of put him on the radar of Craig Levine, who then signed him. I have a personal connection to one of the podcast hosts. On my birthday, he got 4 assists and controversially got man of the match over Mark de Vries.
Jimmy Sanderson. Was it Jimmy Sanderson that gave him it? No, it was Sandy Clark.
Clark, I think.
I heard that on Scarves Round the Funnel and it's still brought up.
Yeah. Alongside Hearts, I played for one other Scottish club, but only for a month. He joined Clyde on a trial and scored in the only game he played in against Stranraer in a 1-0 win. And then after I've played in Scotland, Spain, France, England, the UAE, and after 4 years of not playing, I played one game for Cheltenham Reserves in August 2011, where they won 1-0 again, and he scored the winner. But it was made clear to Cheltenham fans he was just there to train.
No, that was tough. I don't know if that's because we would have been. That's like us starting out as Hearts fans. Yeah, but that was
literally
that
on
was
my
tough.
5th birthday. You were 4.
Jesus, no. Decent, who am I? But that's too much. I need to get you back with a hard one next week.
You gave me David Obua with like Shabalala being the Ugandan national team.
Look, listen, I had to come back with a bang. And I had a couple of tweets with big gun fingers, Dave.
Yeah, but folk can Google it, so it doesn't count.
I suppose, but yeah, mind you, I did it. Yeah, no, who am I kidding? They've definitely Googled it. You're right. Yeah, exactly. The scumbags listen to the show. Well,
it was a scumbag level performance, as it's the worst performance officially in the history of the quiz. 1 out of 4.
Easy, you're chucking it out. Serious, it's me.
Yeah, well, it's true. No one's got. Previously, the lowest was 2 out of 5, also held by yourself. So you're getting all the accolades in the quiz.
When was the 2?
I think it was the second time I've also only had 2 as well, but you were the first person to get it.
I was going to say, I think I've got the strongest performance in the quiz, no?
No. Laurie does.
That doesn't count. He's not regular.
I think we've both got
hold on a second. You're saying this as though we're overlooking Laurie for getting Paul Hartley's hat trick, one of the most iconic moments in Hearts' modern history. No, I'm not having that. That's bullshit.
Very fair. Well, next week you can get me back in episode number 99. 1 away from 100.
Closing in on that ton, aren't we, mate? Jesus.
Slightly terrifying. But that is everything for episode number 98. Massive thank you for listening. A lot of stuff to get through. We'll have a lot of stuff next week as well. But we really do hope you have enjoyed. If you have, please leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. Massively, massively helps out. If you've been watching us and got to be blinded by Adam's fantastic Henry Smith kit.
Yeah, I think that's what they said. 93, 94?
Yeah, I think so.
The elder Jambos will correct us on that.
If you're watching on YouTube, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment as well. We're on all the social media at Perth to Paisley. You can also email us, perthtopaisley@gmail.com. Adam, where can they get you on all the socials?
You can get my post-Thursday night meltdown on Twitter at Adam T. Kendall. And what about yourself, mate?
I'm at DMcIver22. We'll be back next week to discuss all the fallout from whatever group stage we're going to be in after this.
We'll have the draw. We'll have the Europa draw.
We'll have the draw and also St Johnstone out at home class.
Yeah, nobody cares about that.
Until then, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Come on the Hearts!